Subject 1, they signed the progress note. Those progress notes.
For the ICF.
Yeah.
ICF, process of consent. ICF, process of consent. It's very important. People, a lot of sites get busy at it's good to have templates.
What's this?
So then, yeah, so the first one was consistent, right?
Yes.
So all the dates matched up. We're good on that. And then on the second one, we found that there actually wasn't a progress note of consent, informed consent.
Okay. So
and the dates didn't match.
Yeah.
So
the consent form was signed on the 14th. And then the inclusion-exclusion criteria, those were done on the 21st. So
was there any note as to why?
No. The only note that was in the end was lost to follow up.
Okay, so they should put a note. So as a CRA, you would put action item. Hey, explain what happened here. Right? It needs to be attributable. I guess that's attributable. No, not attributable. Legible, contemporaneous.
Complete
and accurate, I guess.
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah, you have to. They have to have consistency on those things.
Okay.
So I have a question. Is it that the day the study starts, is the date supposed to match up with the date for the informed consent and vital signs?
They're all supposed to match, but the informed consent could be done earlier.
Not later.
No.
Oh, so
That's a deviation.
Okay. No problem.
But there needs to be an explanation, no matter what.
Yeah, and then
That's a minor thing though. Like if the informed consent's today and then tomorrow they do the visit, and there's no explanation, it's a minor thing, but they should still write a note to file. Subject, it got late in the day, so subject came the next day for the actual visit. That's okay. You want to see something.
on the section where there's the progress note, we noticed that you can't add a note to that, and we wanted to. So I don't know.
Yeah, you can't. As a CRA, you can't.
No. We want, you know how like there's the comment, like the little
Yeah.
plus, and then we wanted to leave a comment. We just wanted to leave a comment. We didn't want to.
Oh,
edit
you
what
couldn't?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just put that there, and I didn't want to leave a note in another random place because I
Yeah.
wanted specifically.
Sometimes I get that when I monitor in the EDC, it won't let me query a certain thing.
Mhm.
Like for whatever reason, it's locked.
Mhm.
So I will query something else next to it, and
You refer?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That way it's still there.
So for the next one, subject 3, everything looks good.
Oh yeah, I'm logged in right
Process
now.
of consent was signed. Just progress note.
How many subjects did you guys review?
We got to do 7, so almost halfway.
So which ones were missing?
8,
Process.
9, or 8 until 15.
No, which ones were
Which
missing
one?
the process of
Wait, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them.
5 of them.
And you put comments in there,
Yes.
so Kobe will see.
Yes.
Okay.
And the dates didn't match up.
Okay.
The date on the ICF was different from the informed
And you
consent.
put comments on that too?
Yes, and some, not just the informed consent page, like some
Yeah, there
other
was,
manual.
The ECG,
Yeah.
right here, I see that. The medical form history.
Those should match, right? With the study date.
And if they don't, they should have an explanation on the notes,
Yeah.
right?
Explanation why. Sometimes there's a window, like you're allowed to do things within a plus or minus window.
But we don't have that protocol. Right?
Yeah. But even if they are, you should have an explanation why.
Okay.
Like a progress note, you need a progress note every visit. But at screening visit, you need the process of consent. Or if it's another visit and they reconsent, you need another process of consent.
Okay.
But every visit needs a progress note. Even if it's 2 sentences, like by the PI or the coordinator or somebody needs to write it.
Sometimes it was 3 words.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. PI oversight, remember, and then documentation.
Okay, and then do you want me to bring for the other?
Yeah, for the ontology.
Let's see. So our first thing that I found was that the ICF on the regulatory binder was not approved, so there was no stamp with a date.
That's right, I remember that.
And then, but on the source, the data.
They were using the right one.
They were using
Thankfully.
the right
How do you know if it's the right one, though?
one. According to the protocol? Or is it?
No? You will know it's the right one from the IRB
I was
portal.
gonna say IRB.
Yeah. So in this case, we don't have that, so all we had was, we have to ask the coordinator. But in like a job interview, doubles as a job interview
Okay.
video too.
Oh,
Like they
great.
ask you,
That
how do
is-
you know it's the most recent ICF?
I would have to look at the IRB.
That's right.
Mhm.
Perfect answer.
Okay.
They're gonna ask you these kind of things to see what you're saying and if you know what you're talking about or not.
Okay.
Depends on the job. Sometimes they don't really care because it's like entry level. But other times it's like if it's not entry level, they'll ask you some of these situational questions.
Okay. That's good.
Amir won't ask you anything.
He won't ask me.
He just wants to know you, not he doesn't even know what to ask you.
Okay.
So
That's
you don't
good.
have to worry about that. But for other interviews, if you do it, like if you practice with
Yes.
the one that you're gonna do,
Mhm.
they might ask you these things. Although that job description, I don't think they'll ask you that level.
Right. Alrighty, and then in that case, the coordinator would need to provide the date for the most updated,
Correct.
the ICF on the regulatory binder.
Yes.
Okay.
They need because it looked like they had a template in the reg binder and they needed the official
Right.
one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then, when we saw the lab reports on the source.
No, but why? Why? So why is that important that they put the official one in the reg binder?
Because that's what we're going off of.
Because when the FDA comes,
Correct. But also more practical. When you need a new ICF, like if it's a new patient, oftentimes the sites go in the regulatory, or like you're supposed to have one on file so you can print it,
okay,
or you have like a template of the most recent one so you can make copies. But if they don't, and somebody's rushing to grab a ICF because the patient's in the lobby and they grab that one,
the wrong one.
right? That's a problem. That's deviation.
Yes.
And you could avoid that.
Okay.
So it's CRA's job to catch that, like we did. I don't know if I found that or you. One of us found it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I was
Or maybe it was
actually paying
Lucina.
attention a little bit on that one.
So the new one has to be in the red binder,
The official one.
the official one.
Yes.
Yes. Always the most recent, approved.
Okay.
Right, because then if you get a new one, then you don't have it to compare it, right?
Correct.
Then you wouldn't know.
And to not use your last copy, like to not accidentally give a subject your template, even though it's approved, and now you don't have any more.
And that's what happened on that.
Yeah.
On that
So
study.
sites put like with a highlighter,
Mhm.
they'll put like a line. This doesn't write. They'll put a line and it'll write like copy
Mhm.
or like original in the reg binder, so that whoever's using it, because it doesn't come out in the screen like in the Xerox. They'll put this like on the ICF
Oh,
with a highlighter. So,
So you
when
know
you
that's
copy
the
it,
original.
yeah, but when you copy it, it doesn't show. But like whoever's doing it won't use that because they're lazy. They're like, here's a,
yeah.
and then you can't find the real one.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you need your password for the IRB, and you know those take time.
Mm.
Okay.
So that's what they do. It's a little trick that we do.
Okay. Looks good.
And if you say that in an interview, they're gonna know you know what you're talking about.
All right. Perfect. So the next thing that we found was the lab reports had no NCS.
That's
Values?
right. That's right. That's
So
right.
sometimes they would say like H for high or L for low, but it wouldn't say if it was NCS, which is not clinically significant. But they did have the PI signature on it. So he did review it. And then I believe that they said like, yeah, he approved it or he reviewed it. And then he's like, okay, if you guys want to put the values, then we can do it on the next one.
Okay.
But then sometimes they'll be like, oh, that's okay. Like as long as I review it, then that's fine.
So how do you know if it's okay or not?
You have to ask him.
But how do you confirm?
With the coordinator or the PI himself.
Yeah, but how do you remember SOP?
Oh, right.
Because what if you ask the coordinator and they tell you, Oh, we don't do it that way here, but in the SOP
It says
it's
it
written
again.
that.
So you have to check the SOP.
Which actually we did not have on that site.
Mm-mm.
So we did not have the SOP. So then
She said she'll have it by next time.
So people were not signing.
There's only one patient.
There's 3
Oh, that's
for
right.
the
There was
ICF.
3.
Yeah, careful.
Which brings me
careful.
to. Mm-hmm.
You want to be nice, CRA, but not that nice.
Uh-huh.
It's 3.
Okay.
So they have to put it because then it just gets sloppy. And then with the reconsents, it really starts getting confusing. Because when the ICF amendment comes out, if those original 3 are still in the study, they have to sign the new one. And then any new person signs that one, but not this one. So it gets confusing this is why the log is important.
Okay.
To track it cleanly.
Right. So we were missing the other patients that were screened.
Correct.
Which
So
was
next time we
2.
have to
Yeah.
see those.
Mhm.
And
So-
all these action items need to be done.
Mhm. So there was one patient.
So
that
why didn't you guys do the other ones?
they weren't on the? They didn't give us the
They weren't
folders
available.
for them. Yeah.
They weren't made available and we ran out of time.
Okay.
But that won't happen next time.
We need an IV signature page and then the protocol signature page from the CRO. Well, like I mentioned before, we needed the site to provide us with the SOP, which we didn't have.
Right, so next time. So all these things, right? What do you
Action
do?
items,
Action
yeah.
items. That's right.
Action items.
Augustina knows.
Yes.
A follow-up letter too.
And a follow-up letter, that's right. Which I have to give you before Friday. So we needed the subject screening and enrollment log.
Mm-hmm.
We needed the
Screening and enrollment log, yep. Yep.
Mhm.
That would be very helpful for the study that you're monitoring now. We do have one though. But that would you didn't have one, pretend like you didn't have one. So you have to figure out from the source what's going on, and it's very difficult. If you had that log, you would know. And they even know the dates of when their visit was. So it's helpful because it's all on one page in that case.
Great. And then we need the sponsor to ensure that all SUSARs are sent to the sites. Because I believe
That's correct.
there
That's
was
an important
one
action
regular-
item
yeah.
for the sponsor. Sometimes action items are for sponsors or CROs or even the CRA.
So they didn't send any SUSA.
I know they have them, and we had an intern that was putting them in Intralinks, but I don't know if they stopped sending it to her or if she got a job and stopped doing it. More likely.
Okay, so we needed an SAE log. Because there were some on the...
Yeah, there was already
Yeah.
SAE. You see, with cancer, there's SAEs. Like even one
Yeah.
patient, there's SAEs. With non-cancer studies, it's kind of rare to have a SAE. I mean, it could happen, but with cancer, it's like literally every patient, even if they're doing good, like this patient's doing good, the tumor size shrunk like almost gone, they're still having SAEs like neutropenia, which is like a low white blood cell, I think. Right? That's what it was.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's what he was saying it was. So that's common SAE for oncology too. So
That's good to
when
know,
that
yeah.
happens though, like it's good because the tumor is shrinking, but it's unsafe for the patient because they're losing, like an infection could kill them.
Right.
So you want to lower the dose of the drug, even though it's working really well on the tumor. You can't forget about the other things.
Right. Okay. And then, yeah, we covered clarification of the patients that were there because we only had, like Dan said, only one available.
Yeah.
And then that was the patient that was in the study. Then the other ones didn't make it. They screened out. Oh, actually, one of them screened out. The other one withdrew from the study. And then...
Oh, so neutropenia, the presence of abnormally few neutrophils in the blood. Yeah. So...
Neutropenia?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very common for oncology.
Good to know. So then, yeah, we need a SIV confirmation letter and a follow-up letter.
That's the one you were saying you're gonna send to him. Right?
And neutrophils are a type of white blood cell. So I was right, but it's even more specific.
Who is subject 17?
And then we already, number 1. And then we asked, who subject number 1 was, which was list, because the subject that we had was subject number 2, but that was the only one available to us.
Oh,
so then
okay.
we had to clarify how many other subjects were there. That's all of the notes that I have for that visit.
IP was okay? Alright, the investigation product?
Oh,
Because I didn't go in there. I didn't go
right.
in that room with you.
That's
Did they have a temp
right.
log?
A what?
A temperature log?
Yes, she showed it to me.
Oh, I forgot. We were supposed to scan it.
Oh.
See, we forget. Even the experience here, you're supposed to collect the temp log. So next time we go, put that on there. That we have to collect it.
Action item.
Yeah.
Yeah, just snapped up and see.
So I'm gonna write it here.
And in a case like this, you can always email the coordinator and they'll email it.
Temple.
But we forgot.
So it was the pharmacy visit at the site. Yes, we
Yes.
visited it, and it was stored appropriately. I
Oh,
don't have
remember the
any-
issue with the IP with the temperature excursion?
Mm-hmm.
Remember? I showed
That
you in the rec binder.
The temperature when it was being shipped.
Yeah.
Did you
Remember?
quarantine?
No. So it's good that the coordinator did this properly. Well, so if they didn't, that would have been a big problem for us
Mm-hmm.
because we would have to get a response from the sponsor
Mm-hmm.
that day,
Mm-hmm.
or else we don't even know if that's okay.
Right.
So when the sponsor shipped the IP to the site on like one day during transit, it went above 25 Celsius, and it's technically an excursion. So the coordinator did what she's supposed to do because when the IP came to the site, it has a temp tail, and you plug it in and it triggers like, hey, this is actually excursion. So she emailed the sponsor immediately before dispensing it or anything. And the sponsor replied back, and it's all documented.
Okay.
And I took scans of this too,
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay, it's acceptable to be dispensed. But if we didn't have that, even if it is acceptable, we don't know that, and we're not going to know that day
Mm-hmm.
because it was already late in the day, and the sponsor's on the East Coast,
Mm-hmm.
so we would have had like a stressful time, and possibly a bunch of deviations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the interview question too. What do you do during temperature excursion? How do you deal with temperature excursion? Let's pretend we didn't see that email from Claire, but we noticed temperature excursion. What do you do as CRA?
And I would consult with her first.
Yeah. But
And then
we
At
assume the
what
site
po-
doesn't know. Like
at
they're
what
not
point-
even
They don't
aware.
know.
At
Yeah.
what point do you quarantine?
you ask
Good
the
question.
sponsor first, right?
You gotta get sponsor approval, so until you get that in writing, an email's okay, you can't dispense it. Even if the patient's there that day. Unless it puts the patient in immediate jeopardy. And then the PI has to determine, is it more risky to not give the patient IP today, or less risky to give them this temperature excursion one?
Okay.
If it's like something life-threatening, PI can make that.
Oh.
But even if it is a deviation, they can still do it. But those are rare circumstances.
So the things that did not apply that are listed on here are the emergency code break envelopes intact, which is not applicable because they don't use them.
Correct.
And then has there been a break-in in the code, and that's not applicable
No.
because this is not a blind study.
Correct. Someone on YouTube already commented this is not a blind study. But yes, you're correct. They cut it quick.
That's nice.
I know. So you're right.
And how did they catch that? Like, what was the?
I think because they noticed you walk in the farm inside, and maybe they paid attention to I didn't even go inside with you.
Because the coordinator saw it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was showing me.
And if it's blind, if it's some studies are double blind. Well, most studies are double blind, but sometimes the staff is also blind except one person to the IP.
Okay.
So they're the only ones that are allowed to actually see what the IP is, because there's no other way to keep them blind.
And is that on the protocol? That they
Yeah, it's
decided?
always
Okay.
within the protocol. And then you gotta make sure as a CRA, that person doesn't do anything else with the study, except administer the IP, if they're the only one that's unblinded. And
What
in
else
those
could
kind of
they
studies,
do that could violate that?
anything.
Such as? Like have other
Anything.
roles in the
Those are
site?
not-
Is that what you
Yes,
mean? Okay.
yes.
How
But
about-
those are not called double blinded.
Those are a part of double blind. Double blind is like a lot of studies, but sometimes it's masked so well, nobody can tell. But for an infusion, somebody can clearly tell this is the real IP. So they want to keep the PI blind, coordinator blind, even the CRA blind in those cases.
Okay.
So they'll even have an unblinded CRA just for that. You'll get studies like that too.
Okay.
Very important.
That's pretty much what I have. So just pretend you don't know this stuff.
Yeah, pretend you don't know. By next Friday.
But it's very good once you start to do the hands-on. And
Yeah.
obviously you're going to make mistakes and you're not going to know things. But once they tell you what your mistake was or what you didn't know, you're going to remember that. I think that's like an educational thing. When you're wrong and they tell you what the right answer is, you're going to remember.
Yeah.
It's more effective than them telling you the right answer right away. So.
Judith's gonna be busy.
Yeah.
And
Good
she's
luck.
gonna be my assistant. My
Yeah, I
personal
know. That's
assistant
really
too.
good. That's
You know how
really
much
good.
stuff we have to do? It's unbelievable.
I'm
Yeah.
really happy for you.
Yeah, thanks.
And you'll do well too in Chicago. I mean, you already have
Well, yeah.
interviews. You have interviews you're turning down.
Well, because I want to do this. I don't want to do what I've been doing for 4 years, which is, this stuff, like recruiting and all this stuff.
Right. Especially at an academic place where you get pigeonholed into one role. I see
And that's
that.
what they want you to be that way. They want
At
you
a
to
private
do that.
clinic, small, you could do so many things. Like Monica started as a patient recruiter, and 4 years later, she's gonna be like a part owner because she's done everything. She started with patient recruitment.
That's how it should be, I feel like, because I feel like those studies are more unorganized because they just want you to have that role, but it's connected to everything else. So
That's
you're
right.
kind of like at mercy of other people's, like, not being professional or organized.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. You confident?
I think so. I hope so. And if I'm not, I'll learn.
CRC then CRA.
Sure, if that's what it takes.
Which one do you want
You
to
could get
start?
lucky.
I mean, obviously we studied the CRA Academy to become a CRA, but I think as a coordinator, I'm going to be more prepared to become an even better CRA because I'm going to know exactly, what they need. And I think
Yeah.
what you said, like...
A lot of our students,
Uh-huh.
well, not a lot, but some become CRAs right away too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's a matter of luck, a matter of how
Yeah.
hard you work,
Mhm.
how well you do in the interviews.
Right.
It's a lot of that.
Because a lot of descriptions want you to have 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, experience.
But some of them don't, like, rush. A lot
You
of
already
them
have
don't.
like 4 months though on your. Well, you have more because of what you did even
What she's been
before.
doing before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you probably get a job very soon.
You could be a CRA. As much as I would want you at our own clinic, if you get a CRA job first, I guess you take that.
It's like, bye, man. It's
Yeah,
like,
you're
I'm
not
only
on the
there for
job.
2 days. Oh, okay, I got hired somewhere else. I'm just kidding.
Talk to Amir because we'll try to keep you.